Okay, hi everybody. Let's go ahead and do some tutorials on how to do the atomic structure practice. And this is going to help you out not only on this assignment, but on the isotopes and atomic structure handout that you have as well. So the first thing that we're looking at is the information given in this box here. And so what I want you to take a note of is that your atomic number comes from looking at the periodic table right here. And what you need to remember is that atomic number is actually equal to the number of protons. So atomic number and protons are the same thing. So you could write this equals protons. Okay, and let's remember that protons have a positive charge because that's going to come up later. We also need to understand that our mass number is not the same as our atomic mass. This is not the same as the mass number. Okay, that's because the atomic mass is an average of all the isotopes found in nature. The mass number is equal to the protons plus the neutrons. So that's going to be our mass number. Now, that means that we can find neutrons by taking the mass number and subtracting the number of protons, and that's going to give us our number of neutrons. Okay, now what about these electrons and the charge? So what you need to know is that charge can be found by taking our protons, our number of protons, minus our number of electrons. So if we have to know what the charge is, we can just perform a simple subtraction. So in this case, for this example, our protons, so our charge, will be equal to 11 for protons minus 10. So then our charge ends up being a +1, and that is exactly what you see right here. Okay, so what about this element and isotope name and the isotopic notation? So this, of course, is your element name, and it is found by looking for the number or the atomic number and finding the element name. So if we were to be given atomic number 11, we would go find atomic number 11 on the periodic table, and we would find that that is named sodium. Okay, so when we're talking about the element and isotope name, the other part of this, this number or this name is this sodium 23, the 23 part. And the 23 comes from the mass number. So 23 is the mass number. Okay, so what we need to pay attention to, and I'm going to try to pull that back down again. There we go. 23 is the mass number. I want you to be careful because mass number and atomic mass are not the same. I want you to look at what the atomic mass is for sodium. The atomic mass for sodium is 22.99 AMU. Okay, and we'll get into AMU or atomic mass units later. But for right now, I want you to notice that yes, this time mass number and atomic mass on the periodic table match, but it's not always going to be the case. So they're not always the same. That's because the mass number, which is 23, is always a whole number, but the average atomic mass, or AMU, is always a number with decimals. So that's something that you need to be aware of there. Okay, I think that I have covered everything except for isotopic notation. In isotopic notation, we have the mass number over the atomic number. The 23 was the mass number, and the atomic number was 11, and we have the element symbol, Na, and we have the charge. And so when we are writing things out, we're going to follow that format, as in mass number over atomic number, symbol in the middle, charge in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, so let's go ahead and try some of these out ourselves. As we go through this, I'm going to do a couple of them, but not all of them, because of course you have the responsibility of doing these yourself. So let's look at copper 67 right there. So let's go first take a look at what information we have. We have copper. We know that it's copper, and we know that its mass number, this, we know that its mass number is 67. So that means I can fill in mass number is 67 here. But I also need to go look for, well, what is copper's atomic number? And so I go search out copper on the periodic table, and there's my copper. Atomic number is 29. So I'm going to go fill in atomic number 29 for my copper. So I know my mass number is 67, and now I know my atomic number is 29. And remember, if I know my atomic number, that means I also know my protons, which is also 29. And since I know my protons and I know the charge, then I can figure out my electrons, because if you remember, charge is equal to protons minus electrons. So if my charge, in this case, if my charge is equal to +2 and my protons are equal to 29, then if I want to know my electrons, this is a simple calculation here. That means that I must have 2 more positives than negatives, and the electrons are my negatives. Remember, electrons have a negative charge and protons have a positive charge. So that means I must have, to make this work, I must have 27 electrons. And so my electrons go in right there. The last thing that I need to be able to do is I need to be able to write out the isotopic notation. So I'm going to start with the copper element symbol in the middle. And I'm going to put in the charge in the upper right-hand corner, +2. And in the upper left-hand corner, I'm going to show the mass number. And in the lower left-hand corner, I'm going to show the atomic number. Now, you're going to go, wait a minute, Mrs. Shiro, that mass number is different than the atomic mass on the periodic table. And you're absolutely right. That is different than the atomic mass on the periodic table. And that's why we have to write this down, because isotopes' mass number is always different than the atomic mass on the periodic table. Remember, that is just an average of all the isotopes of that element. It is not this one isotope. All right, so I feel like we need one more, and then you can finish the rest of these on your own. So let's go take a look at one more, and we're going to clear that, and we're going to scroll up. And our next one looks like we do not have enough information. And so we're going to fill in some information that we need. This is atomic number 35. So if you go look at atomic number 35, that means that we have bromine right there. And it looks like I did not give you enough information. So what I want to do then is go fill in the piece of information that you need right here. So the piece of information that is missing is that we want to be able to identify the mass number. So we're missing the number of neutrons because we don't have any other information, names or anything. So let's pretend, and let's use that the number of neutrons in this case is going to be, let me make sure I do this right, 47 is going to be our number of neutrons. Okay, so let's do this from exactly what we have in this situation right now. Since I know this is atomic number 35 and we've already looked it up on the periodic table, that means I know this is bromine. Okay, but I want to know what is its mass number. So its mass number is going to be protons 35 plus neutrons 47, and that's going to give me a total overall mass number of 82. So this is going to be bromine 82. Okay, if I have atomic number, that means I also know number of protons. That was 35. And if I have charge, that means that my protons, 35, minus my electrons must equal 0. And we know that that means, in fact, electrons have to be 35 as well. So how do I write my isotopic notation? I write the symbol for bromine, which was Br. I just looked it up on my periodic table. And since I do not have a charge, my charge is 0, I get to leave this part blank right here. But I get to put in my mass number, which we said was 82 after we added protons and neutrons, and the atomic number, which is 35. And so that is my isotopic notation. My element isotope name is bromine 82. And I have filled in all the other missing information. From here on, I would like you to try your very best to fill in the necessary information to finish the rest of these practices here. I'm just going to check real quick and make sure that you have all the information you need. Electrons, protons, mass number. Okay, yes, yes. Okay, I believe you have all the information you need except for this one. You do not have to do that one right there, the one with just the 17. So let me erase that and try that again. Let's go here and let's get rid of that. So this is the one I'm saying you do not have to do this one right here because you don't have enough information. Okay, let's see here. Yep, you've got all the other information you need. So please complete this assignment at this time. Thank you. Bye, everybody.